Gather round, dads, it's time for a tale. Hand me a book and a warm pint of ale. Let's discuss writing and the literary gods with Dan Roberts on the Dad Lit Pod.
Welcome to the Dadlit Pod, the literary podcast for people who know a lot about axolotls, not by choice. Tonight, I'm joined by McLeod Chapman. He writes books, comic books, YA and middle grade books, as well as for film and television. And you can find him at claymcleodchapman.com. In addition to that, he wrote a terrific book that I read recently called Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, which we're going to talk about. And you also just published some short stories for
Yeah.
Acquired Taste.
Yep.
And this is why I brought up axolotls, because it has an axolotl on the cover of it. But I think that it's about to get eaten because it's Acquired Taste. And I was going to buy it. I'm going to be honest with you. I
Yeah.
was going to buy it. But my daughter is obsessed with axolotls. She just had an axolotl birthday where
Oh
she
wow.
dressed as an axolotl for the birthday.
Get out.
And I had this problem with Mallerman's book, the one with the teddy bear on the front, where my
Yeah.
daughter assumed that it was that as I was reading it, that it would be for her, because it has a teddy bear on it.
Yeah.
And Mallerman's book starts out a little unsettling with new mommy or spooky mommy or whatever her name is.
Is it other mommy?
Other
Other
mommy,
mommy?
other
Yeah.
mommy. And so she's like, Daddy, can you read it? And I'm like, it can't possibly be bad. Like first page in.
Mm,
Nope, turns out, nope,
nope,
shouldn't
nope,
have
nope,
walking
nope,
around, other
nope.
mommy.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, I think that's the lesson, right? Though in my defense, no
Yes.
axolotls are harmed in acquired taste. They are not eaten, they are just licked.
Oh,
That's
so,
it.
so
They just
instead,
get licked. That's
yeah,
it.
so instead, that's terrific. My daughter will be out licking lizards and snakes in the garden instead of eating them.
No temptation to eat the axolotls. Like
Yes.
axolotls are sacred animals. I get it. I believe in it.
Yes.
To the extent where the actual story itself is about a convent of salamander worshiping nuns who, uh, and this is partially a true story, but
Oh, okay.
basically these nuns end up raising and cultivating these axolotls for their mustard, their kind of secretions in their skin, and end up imbibing a little too much and start turning into salamander nuns themselves.
Oh, great.
As you do, as you do.
Yeah, as you do. As we all know. Who hasn't been there where they've turned into a salamander nun from licking an axolotl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would have, if I'd read her that, mommy would have gotten a lot of questions.
Oh man. I think one of the only reasons why anybody knows about that book, that collection of stories, is because of the cover. And it's not that the story is
Yeah.
probably like a B-side. Like it's not one that you lead with for sure.
Yeah.
And yet it made its way to the cover. And I'm like, guys, like, I don't know. This is like you're kind of you're not even putting the cart before the horse. You're just putting the axolotl before the horse. And it I mean, axolotls are so big right now
Oh, they're
that
huge. Yeah.
that book gets put face out more often than any other book I've ever written, and it's
Hmm.
just because it's got a salamander on the cover.
Yep.
And then some poor reader out there is buying that book, and I don't know what they're expecting, but they definitely do not get it.
You see, this is this is exactly what I'm talking about. The
Yep.
underlying, if I was sitting on the couch reading that book, my daughter would be like, Is this an axolotl book for me? Would you like to read the story about the axolotl, Daddy? Reading is
Oh,
fundamental, Daddy. Yeah, and
yeah,
then I
yeah,
would I would have to read the story about nuns that lick salamanders.
yeah.
Do your kids ever, you have two boys, you told me. Do
Two
your
boys.
kids ever want you to read your stories to them?
I have failed as a father. My wife, uh, for some reason, like I love reading out loud.
Yeah.
Like I love kind of the oral tradition. I love doing events. I love reading from these books. My kids are so bored of me reading to them. They always choose mom. And it is such a like knife in my heart. You have no idea. But it's there's always this moment of like I mean I've given up at this point. Like it's I'm
Yeah.
too late. But whenever there's the fork in the road of like who do you want to have read to you tonight? And maybe I sold it like tried a little too hard. I was like, huh? You want
Oh,
dad?
okay.
Dad? And I think they
Were you
sensed
like
it.
doing voices and,
I mean, yeah,
and
there's
it
no
put them
light
off?
show to it. There's no like pyrotechnics, but it definitely they're like, "No, mom, we want mom. Mom does it better." And
Yeah.
I just fumbled. So the I've dragged my kids to events that I've done and
Hmm.
they've endured. They've tolerated.
That's very
Um,
kind of them.
it is. It is. But like it is profound how uncool anything I do can be to them. Like it's just not. It's like my eldest is 13 and my youngest
Oh
is
yeah, so he's
10.
just getting to the point where he's going to hate you.
Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
it's it's simmering. He's tolerating. Like I think I'm at the kind of
Yeah.
tolerance phase right now where like um they put up with it. They appreciate it when it's not kind of in their face.
Yeah.
Um, and I think they know that I want it too much. They want
Hmm.
like they know I'm seeking their approval. So at this point, they know if they withhold, they're breaking my heart, and they love that.
Yes. They're being so for example, if they ever saw their friend reading a Clay McLeod Chapman book in school, they would never tell you because it would make you feel too good about
Yeah.
yourself.
I mean, it's so funny. It's the worst because it's like I want it too much. That's the problem. I
Hmm.
want it. I in elementary school, for both of them, they're 3 years apart. So like there was like this one year where they were both at the same elementary school,
Yeah.
and they had a bring your parents to school day where it was like,
Hmm.
you know, parents like it was like a professional work like to bring your parents in and they do kind of like a presentation and it was specifically dads for whatever reason like it was like bring your dads to school, let your dads talk about what they do.
Hmm.
um and it'd be like my dad's a doctor, my dad's a lawyer, and I came in thinking I was like such hot snot because I was like I write comic books and like I write like
Oh
I
yeah.
was like and there was like a certain Venn diagram of like things that the other kids wanted to talk about. But
Yep.
for the sheer fact that it was me, their father, who was kind of presenting as this like cool dude. Like they were
Yes.
just like, "Oh my God, I hate this." Um,
So basically it was the scene from the first City Slickers
yes.
where like
Yes.
Mitch comes in and he sells radio time on the radio, but the guy before him is a construction worker who lifts a car off like a crane or something with
Yeah.
superhuman strength, and
Oh
then
my
Mitch
God.
feels like a complete dope.
Yeah. I somehow made Spider-Man uncool to my own kids.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's dark.
I know, I know. Someone had to do it. I
Someone
killed
had
it.
to do it. I think they'll appreciate it later.
When I'm dead, like
Yeah.
it's gonna have to come at a point where like I am one foot in the grave, and they're going to be like, you know what, Dad, you get the pass. Like it's just so funny how it's like a pheromone or something. Like you like the
Hmm.
smell of that need of like being approved of or looking cool to your own kids. And
Yes.
I just want it too much.
Yeah. Do you think that's like a general feeling? Like, is that why you write? Because you do a lot of, and that's one of the reasons why I write. I definitely write for approval, but I haven't gotten any. But one day, maybe. No, but you do a lot of in-person stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're a real yeoman out there. I've been following you on Twitter
Yeah.
because I was like, I saw your book. No, I saw the one with the guy with the tape wrapped around his head. And I was
Oh,
like, the novella, right? That he
yeah.
wrote for
Yeah.
Bad Hand. And I was like, that looks really interesting. That looks like a really interesting book. And then I was like, who's this Clay McLeod Chapman character? And so I looked into you, and then I saw the cover to Open Your Eyes or Wake
Hmm.
Up and Open Your Eyes. And I was like, man, I really like that cover too.
Hmm.
But I only recently got around to reading it.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then
I
you're
saw,
like, I can't believe I'm going to have this guy on my podcast. Like,
no,
what have
no,
I done?
I thought this is Mr. Dadlit. Like I was like, this is the most dadlit book I've ever horror book I've read since The Shining. Is
Oh,
literally
wow.
about a
Wow.
dad. It's about a dad who is dealing with the dual challenge of being the child and brother of versus being a father and the responsibilities of that.
Yeah.
And that is interesting. Plus, I read it when I was going home for
Mm.
Thanksgiving. And the book is effectively set right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right before Christmas.
Yeah.
When your character is going home to his family, who are just generally, you know, they were insane before he left.
Yeah.
It just sort of, it escalates. We'll just say
Um,
that.
yeah, pedal to the metal.
Yeah,
I it's so funny that that Kill Your Darling was the first, because that is like, in all honesty, that is probably the most dad thing I've ever written. Am I going to say that? I mean,
really. And I haven't
parent,
read it yet, but
yeah,
I'm interested.
parenthood. Like for me in writing, I
Yes.
swear I'll answer your question, but like the tangent is like parenthood is like I have to write about something that scares me. If I'm writing horror these days,
Oh yeah.
my mandate is you got to have skin in the game. Like you have to, like something that I personally fear has to be the kind of driving force of whatever the story is. And so just by sheer default, like a lot of the stories that I've been writing lately have been, you know, the fears of parenthood and the fears of like
Hmm.
just kind of raising a child and this day and age. And so Kill Your Darling is honestly probably one of the darkest things I've ever written. And it it kind of goes into like the loss of a child, a son. And, I was writing it at an age where like the the biggest fear, the
Hmm.
thing that will undo me to no uncertain degree will be if I ever lose one of my children. Like that is
Yes.
like that to me is undeniably the most terrifying thing I could ever think of. And
Hmm.
so what do? I think about it all day, every day. And it's this fuel to this fire of what I'm writing, and for better or for worse. And so I'm dreading the day when either of them actually picks up one of my books and reads it, because they'll find themselves cast in these horror stories that they had no idea.
Yes, this is. well, you were asking before where the Dadlit pod comes
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
And where it came from was that effectively, without realizing it, I just kept writing dad characters and exploring dad issues and dad things, and I thought, um, what, you know, the dad character has kind of fallen by the wayside, replaced by the son or the daughter who has
Mm,
to overcome something. And in order for them to overcome something, their parent has to be away or dead or need to be rescued or that
mhm,
sort of thing. And so the sort of story of the dad who saves their family or alternatively is destroyed by their family
mhm,
in some cases in the horror context. I think had been sort of left out, and I was just naturally writing those stories, right?
yeah.
And I realized that a lot of it was me trying to articulate things that I could not say to a 4-year-old,
Mm,
but that I was feeling personally as I, you know, lived and am and exist as a father.
mhm,
And so thus was born Dad Lit and the desire to offer a podcast for dads in lit
hmm.
who want to talk about that because I'm sure you've noticed dads don't read a lot anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And well, they don't read fiction anymore.
Yeah.
And yet there are a lot of dads out there writing fiction. And that's what the pod's about is just sort of talking about these underlying elements of uh, dads who write, dads who read, and books that are about dads.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like I think fatherhood is kind of the kind of male father protagonist probably fell out of fashion. And now, much like dad rock, it kind of comes back as this kind of thing to like, kind of like roll your eyes at and kind of sigh. Like there's something a little bit like, oh dear, like, okay, dad. Um, and
like you're 50 and you're picking up a saxophone for the first time
yeah.
and it's kind of sad and we get it. You know, your glory days have passed and you didn't you didn't make enough to take that cruise ship around the world and
Oh
you're just gonna
man.
make up for it by
Yeah.
writing a book. Yeah, to that extent, yes, there's an element of that, but at the same time, uh, dad stories, as you've proven, are quite potent.
They can be. They definitely can be. And I think it's just what are you what do you want to say about fatherhood and
Yeah.
and to me it's you know this is a bit of a tangent, but like I never met my father, my biological father. Like my
Hmm.
dad was never in the equation. Like the
Hmm.
absence of him was all I had as a kind of guiding principle.
Hmm.
I was raised by my mom, and it was just the two of us for the majority of my childhood. She remarried, and there were definitely kind of male adult figures in my life, like my grandfather, a
Hmm.
stepfather. Like men were present, but in terms of the kind of like the father figure, like that just was not there. And so
Hmm.
for me, you know, not only being a father, but also being someone who writes about fatherhood, like at a certain point, I'm just like, who the heck am I, and what am I trying to say? Like I have there's no image or shadow or kind of there's nothing kind of guiding my
Do you
way through this.
Do you think that's why you keep hitting on these fatherhood stories themselves? You're sort of exploring it or
Yeah,
crafting a vision.
probably. And and never answering it. Like that's the thing. Like I think it's
Oh, yeah.
constantly a question mark to me of like, you know, and I'll be frank and say I feel oddly more comfortable writing from a place of female characters. And that's of course we've only talked about Kill Your Darling and Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, and
Yeah.
both of those are kind of predominantly written from male perspectives. Uh, but like for the most part, a lot of what I've written tends to be, I think, majoritively female. It's maybe it skews more towards women than it does men, and that's just because I've been around women more.
Hmm.
Men, dads, they're just an anomaly to me.
Hmm.
I don't understand it as much. So when
Well, you are one,
yeah,
so
and
you
I'm
understand it to that extent.
well, I'm flailing as a father. Like I feel like most days are just like a constant free fall of like, you know, I mean, it's not
Is it
like
is
DEF
it
CON
it
4, but
is it lack of modeling or
road mapping. Like, what's the
road
like,
mapping?
you know, I know that when I was this age, my dad did this, or
Hmm.
when it was time to have the birds and the bees talk, my father said this. Like, for me, it's kind of like, no one ever told me how to do this, and no one ever really did it for me. So,
Hmm.
hey, son, like here we go. Um, and it you know it puts me in this weird kind of like psychological backseat of like, do I know what I'm doing? Am I behind
Hmm.
the wheel? Um, and so like for something like Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, I think a lot of that character work is there's a guy named Noah who is quote unquote the main protagonist. Like it kind of
Yeah, yeah.
it kind of
It
branches
switches
out.
up. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it switches up.
But like he's kind of forward facing more than most in that book, and he's totally ineffectual. Like I like to me he's kind of like a buffoon figure. Um,
He does endure more than he acts,
yeah, which
which is, I mean, from a horror perspective, makes a lot of sense, right?
yeah.
It reminded me of Stephen King's Cell in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
totally for sure. I modeled him after Ash in Evil Dead, who is a character who has a lot of things that just kind of happen to him. Like
Yes.
he fights back, he struggles, he tries to escape. Like he there are actions to that character, but for a lot of it, if you just watch it clinically, like I don't know if you're a fan.
Oh, I am. Yes.
I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan, and like the way that Bruce Campbell, the actor, performed in that film, he's basically just the punching bag of anything and
Everything.
everything that
Yes.
Sam Raimi wants to throw at him, and it's glorious. It's beautiful, um, and I wanted to kind of do something similar to that, but with like a slightly political eye, where you have the kind of ineffectual, liberal, left-leaning Brooklyn dad who who is me. Like let's not split hairs here. Like that is
I
me.
detected an element of autofiction.
I mean, it's
And then
there.
I found out that your parents live in Virginia, and I was like, oh, this is just Clay describing going to visit his parents.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yep.
Um, I it's just more fun uh to write that character and just like
Yeah.
lacerate him because that's I feel like that guy and i.e. me could use a little lacerating, a little kind of lashing on the back.
It well, I don't want to ruin I'm not going to ruin the ending. But it's interesting how it turns out.
Hmm.
And where that guy ends up at the end. and what seems to be the lesson underlying that.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's um because I so me and another author, Kent Wascom, who's a
Hmm.
professor at ODU, so about, little ways away from where you are now,
Hmm.
um, we're talking about doom and the feeling of doom that we as parents experience,
Hmm.
particularly in the past 6 years.
Hmm.
This sort of idea of a world that is outside of our control
Hmm.
and which we perceive from a personal level where something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do anything about it. There's no realistic way that you can do anything about it.
Yeah.
But you have to navigate it, endure it, and try and understand it. And I think it's interesting that that your book, "Wake Up and Open Your Eyes," came out this year because it feels like very much like one of these sort of doom books where um, it's coming and you can feel it, but you're just forced to make the best of it and persist as as best you can.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite part is the psychotic Anderson Cooper monologue. Uh,
Yeah.
about the nature of the ineffectual nature of having to endure that. And so that hit me as uniquely because Kent's book, The Great State of West Florida, also is along those lines.
Really?
Yes, it's about a civil war erupting where the people between Pensacola and New Orleans declare an independent state, and what that sort of cultural idea
Wow.
looks like in the future, which is really fun. And he wrote that based off of or was inspired by a conversation with his daughter, and she wanted a robot dog and a woman with a cowboy hat and only one arm and a robotic arm. And so that's where his book came from. So it's interesting that this idea of like fatherly doom has come
Hmm.
along and seems to be showing up in a lot of places. And I just thought it was reading your book that really struck me that
Yeah.
that your book talks about that.
Well, I'm trying to think, like, what are, I mean, it's astounding how here we are in this kind of current state. And politics aside, there's a certain kind of like sense of inevitable doom. Like that, like the kind
Yeah,
of,
there's a foreboding. There's a
yeah,
foreboding.
the iceberg is there. And I think
Yeah.
we all kind of see it.
Yes.
And, you know, how close it is, how fast it's coming or we're coming towards it, like is always kind of a question mark. But the inevitability of it, like the just that like it's like here we are hurtling in this trajectory like towards this kind of
Yes.
inevitability. And I don't know if it's posed, it's not just fathers anymore. I think like that kind of like 50s dad, maybe that 80s dad,
Yeah.
that like the weight, the burden of family is on the shoulder of the father. Like that's no longer the
Hmm.
case. But like, I think that like a lot of men, a lot of fathers probably come to grips with, like, they grapple with that. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
like, what am I like that sense of
Do you think that it's we just don't know what to do in general as fathers today? And so when looking at this doom, it's like, well, um, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea what to do even before the doom, and
yeah,
now it's even worse.
yeah. I mean, I think to an extent, there's like, a certain kind of like, what am I supposed to do again? Like, how am I supposed to
Yeah,
and within the kind of family dynamic, it's usually like I can't. I'm like, what am I? How am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to protect my family? How am I supposed to keep them safe in the face of that inevitable doom? Um,
yes,
I think that, and then in terms of literature, in terms of fiction, that character of the father who kind of like, I mean, God, who even out there, like the closest thing that immediately pops to my head is something like Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead, where
yes,
you see this like beleaguered dad, like, carrying the weight of like this small mini community on his shoulders. And like they look to him as like their leader and their hero and their father and their like
yep.
at a certain point, it's just like, I think that guy doesn't exist anymore. Or like,
No, yeah, he's very tired.
yeah.
He's
And
very he gets tired by the end.
he's just not the most
And he
interesting
loses
character.
everybody. Yeah, and he
Yeah.
loses everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that narrative is kind of burdened by his point of view. Like at a certain point, like, however many seasons later, they're like, you know what? Let's let him
Yeah,
go and like,
how much can we really care about this guy's fixation on his one-eyed kid who's always been annoying?
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Well, this is why what I'm suggesting is that the dad in the literary sense has entered into a very sort of um stagnant role.
yeah.
Uh uh
We,
they they exist either to die so their kids can um grow and triumph, or they are avatars for neurosis.
yeah. If it was a Pixar movie, they would die in the first 5 minutes, and then they
Yes.
would set the template for like, I always believed in you, son. You can do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it's the like, you'll never amount to anything. You'll be just like me,
Yes.
like in my cups, liver destroyed, and like you are no better than your father. Um, and
Yeah, but
like,
that dad doesn't no one has that dad anymore. He doesn't like that died with the baby boomer sort of either divorce trajectory, or simply the um, Iron John
hmm,
uh, fatherhood parable that all the boomers told each other,
yeah,
where they have to be sensitive and everything, and and to that extent, this sort of idea of the old man that, you'll never be as tough as me smoking Marlboros,
yeah,
sitting on the 5 gallon bucket on the porch is just like that's so foreign to this current generation. It's crazy. It reminds me of my daughter watching Harry Potter with me, and she's like, "Why are those kids not listening to the adults?" And
yeah,
I'm like, "What do you mean? They're going off on their own. They were told not to do that. Why are they doing that?" And I'm like, if I was a kid, like everything I watched when I was a kid, the kids went off and ignored the adults and
yeah,
solved the mystery and all this other stuff. And it's just non-existent now.
yeah,
It's an odd thing though, right?
totally. The kind of the trope, that the kind of real world correlative that I'm kind of always grappling with in my writing, uh, which I don't know if this is true or not anymore, but like dads leave, dads are absent, dads are given permission to kind of drift away, and moms are kind of left to pick up the slack when it comes to child rearing and family raising. And that was true in my case back in, like, good Lord, the 70s, 80s,
Oh yeah,
90s.
well that's our generation's experience with that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm writing from
They
still.
went off to, they had high-minded, they all read Siddhartha, and it convinced them that if they leave, it's actually going to do everyone a big favor because
Hmm.
everyone will be leading their happiest life.
Oh man.
Right? That's what the boomers did. This is a very funny thing that I talked to my high school roommate about. Or not my high school roommate, my college roommate, because his
Hmm.
dad wrote a book about his retirement philosophy.
Hmm.
And his, well, it's funding your retirement philosophy or something like that. And
Hmm.
I was like, oh, this is a book about retirement planning because this guy's a financial planner. No, it was just about him writing like an intro to philosophy textbook, which he was able to do because he'd funded his retirement appropriately. And he opens up the entire book with, you know, when you have a family, you have to make unfortunate sacrifices, like not being able to write your philosophical textbook. And I was like, and I, and it ends with Siddhartha and this idea of being able to go off and do
Yeah.
what you want and actually become enlightened, unburdened by your family, which is a big boomer thing. It's really annoying,
Wow.
by the way. And they all talk about it if you ask them about it, about this, why they love Siddhartha. I hate the book Siddhartha. I think
Yeah.
it's about a selfish dick.
Yeah.
And they love it. They're like, "Well, no, but I went and I achieved and and I was my whole self." And they love to say that. And at the same time, everyone's like, you were your whole self. Like, you got like a convertible at 45 and went and got like a
Oh God.
girlfriend who is 10 years or 15 years younger than you. So this was what my friend's dad wrote this book about. I was like, Forrest, did you know that you were such an encumbrance to your father's dreams? Like, this is a weird thing
That
to
book is
write a
out
book
there.
about.
Um,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. So like, who are dads
But that's
now?
not
Like,
us. That's not us, right? That it's inconceivable to us at
yeah.
this point, right? Like that's just not a thing that we would do.
Yeah. But it does, like, it's like, well, who are we writing about then? Like, what are, like
I
in,
think I think we're writing um about an era where we are perceived in a lot of spheres as a sort of a vestigial appendage,
hmm
influenced by the previous generation, right? This previous
hmm
generational experience, where a lot of working women raised kids.
yeah.
And I think that there's a bit of a reaction to it. I think that a lot of the sort of back to religion stuff, a lot of the romanticist stuff, and a lot of the sort of listless young men stuff is really tied to this framework that collapsed during the boomers.
Hmm.
And we're just like sort of cleaning it up. You know what I mean? But we don't know what it looks like, but we're cleaning it up. And we're cleaning it up at a time when the sort of experience of male power and authority has kind of changed,
Yeah.
economically, socially. We're far more subject to the whims of the electorate than ever before. There's no sort of center that has like this is what men do, and this is how
Mhm.
men manage their finances, and this is how men manage their work, and this is how the town works, and that's just not there. So I think we just sort of are doing your book or Cormac McCarthy's The Road, where
Yeah,
we just
yeah,
sort of we're riding it
yeah,
and trying to do the best we can.
yeah. As a fan of The Road,
Yep.
you know, I I want to believe that, you know, I want to be that dad because I want to believe that I'll just like, put forth my kids at any, you know, they'll make it even if I don't. And then I just got to get them in the
Yeah, I
right
mean,
hands,
yeah.
get them into the hands of the family that will survive to the next chapter so that, uh, you know, even if I croak, they'll be in the post-apocalyptic community that won't eat them. The non-cannibal clan.
The non-cannibal, the non-cannibal
Yeah.
family.
That's all
Yes.
we can hope for. Just don't side with the cannibals, guys.
Yes. But um this has become sort of a hobby horse of mine,
Hmm.
because I think there are two really good books about this, which are uh, uh, T.C. Boyle's A Friend of the Earth
Hmm.
and P.D. James's Children of Men, which of
Mm.
course got turned
Hmm.
into the Alfonso
Yeah.
Cuarón commentary on Iraq. But originally, as it was written, it was a commentary on um, sort of the boomer male withdrawal
Hmm.
from the responsibility of the family and interest in having families and having children, uh, which is interesting. It's an interesting question that with everyone talking about pronatalism and everyone talking about, the cost of having kids and what is the point, um, this perception and this literary exploration is very relevant, very
Yeah.
interesting.
What's the TC Boyle one again? I haven't.
A Friend of the Earth.
A
It
Friend of the
is
Earth.
it is about it's based on the woman who was living in the redwood tree,
Hmm.
but the perspective is of a father who is a global or an environmental terrorist,
Okay.
and it presents him dually on dueling timelines later in life when he's living with Michael Jackson and earlier in life when he's raising his daughter while also being an environmental terrorist and including his daughter in the terrorism.
Okay.
And if you've never read it, it's really spectacular. It's a
Yeah.
really interesting book.
I'll check it out. I've never read it.
Yeah.
I had read the P.D. James, because I was curious about how it would. I will confess I'd seen the movie first,
Yeah.
to Children of Men, and I was like, "This is an amazing movie. I want to see. I want to read
The
the book
book's
now."
different.
And the book was like, "Oh wow, this is an apple to an orange."
Yep. It's very different.
Yeah,
It's got a very different message.
yeah,
It actually it's more about responsibility.
yeah,
It's the book. The book is about male responsibility. And in one case, this is why these two books are interesting to me, because in the T.C. Boyle case, it's about a father who's taking responsibility for the world while raising his daughter.
hmm,
And in the P.D. James case, it's a post father
hmm,
or a surviving father who does not want responsibility for the world,
hmm.
but is forced to take it, kicking and screaming and while arguing against it. And I think those two books, which came out within 4 years of each other, And of course,
Wow.
P.D.
God.
James wrote detective stories
Yeah.
before that, before she came up with that. And I think it's very interesting that those two perspectives are presented. And when you consider contemporary fatherhood and what we're facing, this idea of like, well, do we take responsibility or do we step back and focus on our families
Yeah.
and ourselves? And they're very interesting dad books, as is yours, by the way, obviously.
Uh, I, to be uttered or whispered in the same breath as T.C. Boyle and P.D. James, not so bad. I'll take it.
Yeah, my dream is to be known as the reactionary TC Boyle.
Amazing. There you go.
That's my aspiration. But yeah, I the this is the vibrant dad lit, engagement, as it were. So welcome.
I pleased to be here, fellow
Yes.
fathers.
So what are you working on now?
Um, I'm in between. Have a manuscript into my editor, so I've been kind of taking the last couple of months to write a bunch of short stories, which has been quite pleasant. Because with Acquired Taste out, like it's kind of given me a craving to write more. And I've been really fortunate to have the opportunity to kind of noodle. And
Hmm.
but I have next year, 2026, I've got a novella and a novel coming out. And the novella, which comes out in April, is called Bodies of Work. And it's not a dad, no dad.
Hmm.
No dad books next year. It's a dad
Really?
free year. Yeah.
The
Um,
end of your dad
oh
era.
my God. It might be the end of the dad era for me.
Wow.
Um,
I'm sad to hear that.
I'm, I I needed to kind of switch things up. So I have a
Yeah.
horror romance book coming out in August, which is like a horror romance. So,
Hmm.
uh, which is wild because it's like writing about people in their like 20s and 30s, which is so in the rear view mirror for me right now.
Yeah, but we understand them better than they'll ever understand themselves. This is
Oh
one of the
man.
funniest things. I love yeah, all it took was to get into our 40s and all of a sudden our 20s make sense.
Yeah.
Everyone in their 20s makes sense now, looking back.
But you have to write it in your time frame and you're in terms of like
Oh yeah,
if
yeah,
I was
yeah.
to write about kids today, it
Oh
would,
no, no, I wouldn't. No,
it,
I'm working on a horror thriller about a high school in Ohio in 2002,
hmm,
because obviously I graduated from high school in 2003, and I'm like, oh well, it's much easier to write about, you know 16-year-olds when I was a 16-year-old,
yeah,
and
yeah.
to capture that. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Everything has to be in the through the lens of history. So
Hmm.
because otherwise, if
Well,
you,
you did. I'll say this. I'll say this. Your current book is an internet age book, and you did a really good job with that. That's a very tough thing, and not no one's doing it, obviously, because
yeah.
it's so difficult.
Well,
But
I
it
did it
it
basically
was.
saying like I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to use the internet. Like it was basically
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it is almost like a get off my lawn kind of book because it's speaking from the perspectives of people who are susceptible to indoctrination through social media or
yeah,
uh, through the how they kind of take in their information. So,
yeah,
like the lowest hanging fruit, I'd get it out of the way up front. So, like your dad, your granddad watching Fox News. Like
Mhm.
that's the most obvious uh kind of the trope that we all know now. But then like
Yes.
the further in you get with incel culture and social media with like Twitter.
Oh,
uh
no, no. You've done me a huge favor because my wife is constantly ordering weird hair products to my house that she learns about
oh
on
no.
Facebook.
Oh
And
no.
I was like, I'm gonna let her read
Oh
closed
God.
book. And then I won't have to deal with weird hair products coming into my
Oh my
house
God.
anymore. It'll be great.
As long as she's still talking to you after reading it, because that book is a relationship killer. Uh, it
Have
is burning bridges.
have you observed any of those behaviors in your household?
Yes, yes, for
I
better or for worse.
would imagine the election certainly inspires an element of panic,
Yeah.
which is then reinforced repeatedly.
Yeah.
And so, but that, yes, but
I mean, we all have our echo chambers, right? Like we're
oh
all,
yeah,
it is amazing how we can kind of take in our information, whether we call it news or not, like whatever, however we're kind of like engaging with the world, like whether it's wellness, Instagram posts, Twitter, TikTok, like it's so kind of tailored to you, and yet like on the other side of that is that kind of like we are exploiting those clicks in your attention span
hmm.
for we're monetizing it, and it's that shit scares me, it terrifies me.
Oh, it's very weird and very unsettling. And you think about it, and it's like, man, the Timu boxes that come into my house that my mother buys, and the sort of presentation of things you must have,
Yeah,
particularly pharmaceuticals.
yeah,
Pharmaceuticals you must have.
yeah.
And which is why, as a bald man, I refuse to purchase any hair care, hair regrow products.
Yeah.
It's actually I've laid it out. I've told my wife, you married a bald man, don't expect me to change in that way, no matter how many hair care products they attempt to sell me, because
Yeah.
pictures of me glow off the lights. Because I'm not gonna be not bald.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Patrick Stewart approach, or no, Gene Roddenberry, who said, when they said, wouldn't Captain Picard not be bald and have regrown his hair, or have some sort of pill to regrow his hair in the 21st fourth century. And Roddenberry said, in the 24th century, no one would care. And that's where I
Amazing.
am. That's where
Yeah.
I am on my baldness.
Yeah.
So no
Yeah.
Timu, no bald curing gels for me.
To think that that would be a question that someone would pose to Ron Berry just kind of like amazes me, in of itself. That like, let's ask the pressing questions here, Gene.
Yes.
Why? Why? Um, yeah, yeah. The health and that's the thing. Like even with what my kids are watching, like, ads for hymns will pop up. And I'm like, this is like
Yeah.
it just it's
Hmm.
targeted, and I know that like there's like an algorithm that's kind of pushing based on who's on the other side, but like sometimes they get it wrong, or like
Hmm.
that like my kids can kind of recite the Progressive Insurance jingle,
Yep.
just because it's just so ubiquitous in there. You're not getting a whole swath of commercials like you did during the kind of TV days. It's like these
Yes.
like focused, hyper focused ads just played over and over and over again. Uh, yeah, those earworms, man, they burrow in.
There's I remember I spent some time watching MTV back in the day, back in the Teen Mom days.
Mhm.
Um,
Hmm.
I, my boss would have me over. My boss was sick. He had cancer, and we were friendly, so I'd go over and spend time with him. And he would insist that we watch Teen Mom on
Hmm.
MTV because he thought it was like the most bizarre thing in the world. And I'd watch these Teen Mom things, and all of the commercials were for like acne cream, um, like some sort of pharmaceutical, you know, pharmaceuticals for like treating your skin or your hair,
Mhm.
and then sort of stuff to like improve your like to get pumped and to like get fit, and then for pistachios. And I said, I turned to my boss and I said, what sort of weird looking fuckers are eating pistachios these days? like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this pimply faced pistachio eaters,
Yeah.
just sitting at home watching Teen Mom.
Amazing.
So yes, Clay, would you like to plug anything while we're here? You're obviously Wake. I always get this wrong. Um, it's Wake Up and Open Your Eyes,
Wake up,
uh,
open those
and
eyes.
Open Those Eyes, and Acquired Taste
Yeah.
Stories with a salamander on the cover, and you'll definitely see it.
Yeah.
Um, by the
Yeah,
way,
those
they're on everybody's end of the year must buy list. Congratulations.
I Wake Up has definitely been it's I feel really kind of fortunate, like there's certain books that have really kind of risen to the surface, and like I feel like Wake Up, like it bubbles up every so often, and I don't know, I just feel lucky. So yeah, plugin
Mhm.
wise, like I like Wake Up will, it'll have been out for a year, January 7th, and the paperback comes out in April.
Oh, nice.
So, but that one's still plugging along. Like I feel like given the fact that it's at the end of the year, like it has a little bit of
Hmm.
a certain kind of resurgence, which is I feel really fortunate about. And yeah, Acquired Taste has been out since September, but like it's still nibbling
I
along.
mean, you're selling short stories, which is almost unheard of in contemporary publishing,
Oh God.
unless you're Steven.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's got to feel good.
Yeah, God. I mean, like Titan Books, who put it out, like they were really it's a beautiful edition too. Like
Yeah.
they put a lot of love into it. So um I feel very fortunate.
Hmm.
I'll always count my blessings that like any of these books get out there, let alone like, how do you find readers these days? Like how do you get into the hands of anybody?
Yeah.
Um unless you have like those targeted ads. That's what I should do. I should just do progressive ads for books.
Yeah, you should. You should. You should just sell axolotl, your axolotl cover
Yeah.
on YouTube videos of lizard people.
Ugh, can you
You should.
imagine?
Oh man, there's so many lizard people YouTube videos. You could sell a lot of
Oh,
lizard
wow.
people books.
Oh, there you go.
If you
I
figure it
knew.
out, by the way, that's the other thing that the Dad Lit Pod does, is I'm obsessed with how to market books for dads and to like convince dads to go out and buy books. And the best I've figured out is to convince women to buy books for the men in their lives. That's thus far the best strategy for putting books in the hands of
Yeah.
dads.
It's Christmas time, guys. Get
It
those
is.
books in your dad's stocking.
Yep.
Stuff them. Get them reading
Hmm.
again.
That's true. Wake up and open your eyes, folks.
Oh
It's a
man.
book by
It
Clay
is a book.
McLeod Chapman.
It is the one thing you could definitely say about it is that it is, in fact, a book.
Well, on that, I will close out this episode of the Dadlit Pod. Thank you, Clay, for coming
Oh, man.
on
Thank you so much
and
for having me.
talking about books. All the best, and Merry Christmas to everyone celebrating up and coming.
Yay.
Yes.
Our time together has come to an end. It's time to return to your wife, kids, and friends. It's time to pick up those books you forgot while you wait for the next Dadlit Pod.